We don't need no more gangsters. That's Larry. We don't need no more gangsters. We need doctors, lawyers, scientists, mathematicians. This is what he's been telling us since 74. Since he got he didn't even want the position. He was forced under the threat of death to take the position. That in of itself should be enough to give him some reprieve. And Don Dirk tell the story on he was either on Vlad. He was on one of them podcasts, and he told the story. He was there, and they was like, Larry, these dudes say you their leader, whether you want to be or not. You can't shirk tribal responsibility. You bring the whole tribe down on your head. But when they got you thinking that it's something other than tribal, then the government can manipulate the story. Remember Malcolm said the media will have you thinking that your worst enemy, your best friend is your worst enemy. Media manipulation is all it is.
Well, I'm glad you listened. I'm glad you listened and studied and read and absorbed all that you did and continue to do that. It's become a way of life for you.
I tell you, if I known how to be doing all this social media, I wouldn't have did it.
I know people. I hate social media. Some folks in the chat have said they want to get in touch with you, but I know the only way they can get in touch with you is via social media. You have a YouTube page. They can DM you in YouTube, but there's no email that you give out or any website. So you'd have to go to. And do you have an Instagram or TikTok?
Yeah, the Instagram is a SikApe. I haven't did anything on TikTok yet, but I'm thinking about moving over there because I've been shadow banned on Instagram for over a year.
Oh, really?
They had me banned on Facebook for 2 years before they let me do a live.
Wow.
So when they blocked me out of Facebook, I went over to Instagram to do my lives.
Mm-hmm. So now
then they blocked me out. Yeah. Then they blocked me out of Instagram and they forced me back to Facebook.
Well,
so I'm thinking about picking up TikTok because that's a whole nother niche.
Yeah, it is. And you got these little. I see you on TikTok sometimes, but people take, I guess, a little excerpt from your Instagram and then they put it on TikTok because that's some of those reactionary videos, and it'll be, oh, that's right. I've seen you on there, but I know it's always with somebody else making the, printing it. I mean, publishing it. So yeah.
Said, they did some amazing stuff with the information I put out. They made AI animations and all kind of stuff.
Oh, really? Let's say Denzel. No, sorry. Yeah, Rod Hayes. Yeah. So okay. We added a little 20 more minutes, and Twitter is supposed to have more freedom. They show crazy things there. So do they have videos actually? I guess you can actually go live on Twitter. Except somebody saying,
I don't know. I have a Twitter account, but I don't use that.
X or whatever it's called now. I believe it's called X.
Yeah, it's called X now.
Yeah. So yeah, check them out. As many places as you can show up, get this information out, and I know that people will be enhance their lives, and the knowledge will be. Oh, spell SikApe. Whoever see it on the screen. I don't know if you're just listening, but for PayPal, if that's what you're asking, it's SIKAPE 01. Yeah.
But Instagram is the SikApe with no numbers.
The THESIKHPE. I mean APE. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
On Facebook is just Rod Hayes.
Okay. Yeah, that one's easier. All right. So, okay. Well, listen, we're going to go. And I told you I'll be back on Friday with Grand Chic. And for those of you come to my launch on Saturday. I'd love to have you there. Learn about some stuff that's going to help you feel and look better. You know, so I'm being the poster child for it at 70. So, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we are going to go. He's gone. See that, y'all? So thank you for being here. And see you on Friday with Brand Chic. How's that? Yeah, we going. Did you leave? Did you come back? Oh, I thought you left. You popped out. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay. I'm not gonna make you stay up all night and talk to me for 4 hours. So you come back.
Okay,
again.
Dr. B.
You
All right.
need
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to have a conversation with you, and we're gonna do it again when you're ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Have racism before 1492. Everything that you see belligerent, when I say belligerent, I mean that it's against the nature of who we are. Everything you see that's belligerent to us as a tribal people came after 1492. We living in a foreign construct. We living under an occupied territory occupied by foreign forces masquerading as the people of the land. We didn't sign them damn treaties. I don't see Chief Little River on none of them treaties. I don't see Chief Running Bear, Chief Standing Bear, Chief Black Bear, Chief Red Hawk. I don't see none of them names on none of them treaties. Who the hell signing them? Our names was tied to nature because we was tied to nature. We didn't take on other names until foreigners came and imposed their concept of our culture on us the way they want us to express ourselves. When they tell you something is pagan, that means it goes all the way back to Pangea. That's what pagan means. Right? When they call a woman a witch, they saying she a wise woman and you can't run that shit on her. But we don't know this because they villainize words through negative press. Right? Before gangs was bad, we had our gang known as the Little Rascals. Gang mean tribe. Look it up. Do the etymology. Gang mean tribe. They just use it and attached it to every nefarious act of warfare going on in the hood to make you think that the tribes is not the tribes. We ain't never went nowhere. They bust us up. We reconstituted. It's just like when you what's them robots when they break them apart, then they all form back together again. That's all we did. We transformed in front of their face. We got the same symbols we've been had for thousands of years. That's how we identify each other. You ain't gonna join no so-called tribe or gang, or whatever they want to call them, that doesn't hold fundamental values that you can relate to. That's the allure, the attraction. The tribe have to move according to how the tribes always move. Crip walking ain't new. It was remembered and reperformed. All Crip walking is Tookie walking with the chains on his ankle through the death row, dead man walking, crooked man on the lane. You see, they didn't electrocute him because that shit wouldn't have did nothing but made him stronger. So they froze him in Area 51.
Woo! We about to go in now, buddy. We about to go in. So now, what you just said, I love that. What you just said, where does that play into the demonic so-called, I guess, power or extraction of power that some of these other beings or these people, like for example, the Skull and Bones Society, don't they have like the real skull and bones of, was it
it was Geronimo. It was Geronimo's skull and his finger bones.
Yes, sir. Can you kind of break that down into where we about
The
to go?
Skull and Bones came over here as pirates.
Mm.
The Skull and Bones came over here as pirates, and their counterpart is in Oxford. I think it's Oxford University. It's called the Scroll and Key. The Scroll and Key is the law and the key to the law. What we call it legalese today. That's the law, and the key to the law is understanding the. If you go to a law book, it'll show you in each case you read something called the law key. It's going to explain the law. So this who George Herbert Walker Bush was the highest ranked member on the Western Hemisphere, and that's why his ass got fried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're the ones that made the CIA too. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
They made it was called something else before that. I think it was because it broke up into two factions. One of them became the CIA, the other one became the FBI.
Yep. There you go. The alphabet boys.
Right. I think it was called like the SAS or the SSO or something like that. State Security Organization or something like that. Right. But they always been here.
Right.
They've been here since Columbus came. Right. The story of the colonies don't start to the 1600s. We've been fighting this war. We was fighting this war in the 1500s. Let that sink in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's deep. And you know, I'm gonna tell you, like, in preparation for this show, I've been thinking about all different ways of places I want to go. One of the things that me personally, I feel like has been kind of like in my spirit is, of course, 1804. A lot of people don't know the significance of 1804 and the Haitian Revolution. I'm going to kind of switch lanes a little bit, but because I want to kind of try to paint a global perspective, but also tie into historical concepts, right? So when you talk about 1804 and the Haitian Revolution and GINDJAB, Dessalines, and Dudley Boukman, and all of them who, you know, were the forerunners to lead the victory of that revolution, where do you see, because for me personally, I feel like I'm seeing the real life, like, resurrection of the Jean-Jacques Dessalines energy in Ibrahim Traoré. So like, do you see any like similarities or comparisons into like what we're witnessing when we see what we're witnessing with Burkina Faso right now? And then how does that, if to you, it ties in any way, shape, form, or fashion to 1804?
Okay, the Haitian Revolution is very significant to our liberation. We got to keep an eye on Haiti because the last shall be made first.
And the first shall be made last.
So the revolution that was put together there, we had to look at where did they go after they won? Where did the soldiers go with their bloodlust? Where did the priests go to work their conjure? When you look at the expatriation following the Haitian Revolution, most of the people that left went to two places. The soldiers went to Florida, and the priests and priestesses went to New Orleans. Now, the question is, they just won a revolution, and all of the fighting soldiers is going to Florida, and all of the conjure people is going to New Orleans. What could possibly be the reason for that? Right? Why would they do that? So what was going on in Florida that triggered the Haitians that left the revolution to go to Florida? Gullah War. We was in the middle of Gullah Wars. So why would the sorcerers, the conjurers, the root workers, why would they go to New Orleans? New Orleans, the Big Easy, is the capital of the conjure. It tell you that in all of your horror movies. This is where all of the counteroffensives to these sorcery spells was put into effect to fight back. Most of us don't know that conjure magic in the colonial period was just as big as law writing. We don't know that because we don't study conjure magic because they told us voodoo was evil and you had to be a good Christian. The only ones of us that continue to keep the secrets is AME Church kept them for a long time. They masqueraded as a church to teach the root work in the back. Right? And then that's how you got a lot of root workers that matriculated into the church in other denominations. But we was trying to figure out how to fight back the sorcery with sorcery. They didn't want us studying voodoo because to use the practices of voodoo would liberate you from the conjure John D. Let that sink in.
Yeah, boy. I knew this was gonna be one of them ones. Good. Yeah, this is definitely one of them ones. Man, listen.
Look, I put a post up back in 2019. It said, if they ask you what Rod doing about this, tell them voodoo.
Yes, sir.
I put black girl magic on everything I do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, sir, and most sir. And listen, and that's the thing. Like, I always do my best to pay homage to the feminine energy. I meant to do it before we started, but we jumped right in and jumped in hot. But shout out.
We can pause. We can pause for you to pay homage to the feminine energy. I totally support that.
Well, let's do it because we need to take a break anyway. Because you burning down the whole damn YouTube right now. So with that, I did want to give a honor and respect and praises to the mothers, especially in regards to the significance of what we're dealing with right here, from the cosmic level to, like I said, to the planetary level to even the internal level. But the mother, being the cosmic mother, being the mother that gives birth to all things, I wanted to just give thanks. When we talk about ancient Kemet, we talk about Ma'at. We're talking about Aset. We're talking about the mother of the feminine divine, principles, and Ifa. We're talking about we're talking about Ma'at. We're talking about Imoja. We're talking about the Odu. We're talking about Oya, Oshun. It's like Nanabaruku. There's so many different feminine aspects to the Odu. Odu is a feminine aspect to the creation of our people. So we got to give shout outs and thanks to the mothers. Shout out to all my mothers, even the ones in the realm of the ancestors, because without them, we're not here today. And so shout out to also Empress, Vertice, because without her and the work that she did, I don't know if the significance of what the work you're doing has the same amount of weight and effect, without her laying the foundation and doing what she did in regards to, the ancient ones and Washita. So, and even with Washita, is with that and honor and thanks and Mudupe to the mothers and the feminine energy with Washita. Is there any connection from Washita to Washington? What is it, if there is? What is that connection?
The name Washington is a derivative of Washita. The Washington last name is carried over from Washita Indian, right? The Shaw last name is the carryover from Shoshone. The Upshaw last name is the carryover from the Upper Shoshone. The Hayes last name is the adaptation of Haya, which is Hayoka, which is a high priest of a specific order that has a specific role to play anytime that the land becomes compromised. We compromised. So now you see a Hayoka, but they think that the name is Hayes. It's Haya. It's Hayes. Hayas. But when you spell it in English, instead of Hayas, right, you spelling it Hayes, because all vowels are interchangeable in translation under Grimm's Law of Grammar. In order for you to get the pronunciation that the translator used, he can change the vowel to put the emphasis on what part of the word should be spoken. I just identified a few tribes for y'all, by the way.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is dope. This is real dope. So now, yeah, this is wow. This is powerful. So now, when we talk about the divine energy, right, and the creation aspects of that, being that we're going through this shift, and especially from the solar level, how does all of this play into us transitioning from this Piscean age into the Aquarian age that is, going back from the patriarchal control into the matriarchal, cycle?
Okay, so according to the George Washington Challenge, we had 200 years to educate ourselves above the condition, right? So coming up on the conclusion of that is the age of knowledge, the age of knowing. We are transitioning from an age of belief where they gave us stuff to believe in that didn't serve any purpose for us, right? Shout out to our mothers, all the mothers. I'm a matriot, not a patriot. I follow the matriarchy. I'm the chosen one to reiterate the structure of the matriarchy so the women can wake up from the slumber because they more important than anybody else because they the ones that's gonna spark the fire, the light to the new age by them waking up. They mitochondrial resonance is going to cause something called Atlas Shrug. And that's when the earth gonna shake off the parasites.
Listen, and that's what I was talking about Thursday night on that live, is getting rid of them parasites. So in the last segment or section, I forgot, and let me give that shout out. Shout out to Wunam, who came and burned it down last night. She's also a child of the Iami and the IJ. So I want to make sure I give a shout out and salute to those mothers as well, because those are some very powerful forces. So with that, I'm ready to dive back in, Big Rod. So this is dope. So okay, where do we go with reclaiming like ownership and sovereignty over Turtle Island from where we are right now?
So right now, we just have to continue to educate the public about what's taking place. And if you pay attention, you will see the transition of power, the old system being dismantled for a new system to emerge. They first have to destroy the old system before the new system power is activated. This is something that's already done. We just have to make public knowledge because the more tribesmen aware, then the more of us that can stand in our own power, and we change the frequency by becoming our best version of us. And to become our best version of us, we need a sense of remembering who we were. We need to know who upped us upside the head and made us lose our mind. Right? So once we get to seeing it, and you have people like us just trying to explain it in the simplest terms as possible, then doing our part is to inform the public, and then we don't have to worry about somebody else's part if we all do our own part, because everybody got a part to play. But some people's part is just bigger than others because they're more qualified than others. And some people's is smaller because they less qualified, but it don't make them less important. Ain't no big eyes and no little U's. It's all about us together waking up saying, no, we do not consent to be controlled and be enslaved in this artificial construct masquerading as our government. It's all about awareness at this point because it's happening. You just need to be aware to know what's happening.
And that's facts. I say, and that's deep too, because now you said something that to me it kind of relates to. I know a lot of people have been going crazy in a hoopla, in a tizzy over this movie, The Sinners, because of the symbolism, which there was a lot of symbolism in it. So what you just said, does that kind of tie into like the vampires like wanting to, or I should say, needing to be asked to come in? You know what I'm saying? Like, because they couldn't come in without somebody asking them to come in. But to me, that sounds like kind of like they won't give us, or I should say, we don't take our land until we take our land by doing what you just said in regards to us owning and being who and what we are.
So the vampires don't need permission to come in. They need permission to come indoors into an enclosure. But you can bump into one on the street, he don't need your permission to fuck you up.
Yeah, so that sound like the them boys, the alphabet boys. Now, in regards to that, I remember we was talking about some good guys are gonna have to pretty much fuck up some bad people.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned that, can you kind of like tap into, like, go into it a little bit deeper into regards of like what that looks like, or at least like what that kind of personifies?
It's just what it say. It didn't cut no corners. So we told this story about righteousness versus wickedness, good versus evil. Our whole life, every movie that we seen, we always chose the resistance. We always chose the side of the innocent and the righteous. We rarely ever choose the side of the wicked. That's your nature. Now, they gave us villains and painted them as the righteous. That's called an imposter. He's masquerading as the righteous. They told us Batman was a superhero, but we didn't know he was a schizophrenic having a schizoid episode, and all of his arch enemies was his counter selves that he was fighting all the time. He wasn't roaming the streets of Gotham. He was locked up in Arkham Asylum. But in his mind, he was roaming the streets of Gotham, fighting his alternate identities as the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin. And this is the way that they take stuff and turn it around to confuse us.
Woo! Yeah, that's deep. That's real deep, because now, okay, man, I'm glad you went there. So now, with you saying that, let me ask you this: have you seen the movie X-Men Apocalypse?
With Thanos?
I don't know if that was. I think that was the Avengers with Thanos, because I didn't see that one, but it made so much new noise.
Oh no, X-Men Apocalypse was the one where Magneto was fighting the Egyptian guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. So I would. Did you see that one?
Yep.
Okay, now I talked about that many times on this show too. When I saw that movie, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like they showing some real deal. Like they showing the real deal. With that, what you just said prior to me asking that question, you said it's like them flipping the script and trying to make us think in one way when it's really the other way. They did that with X-Men Apocalypse. They showed, you know what I'm saying, like, I feel like a lot of ancient comedic truths, you know, that was going on with what they showed. But the only difference is they made the God out to be the bad guy, you know what I'm saying, that they had to get rid of.
The guy that's always the bad guy they got to get rid of because he come to set the record straight.
Can you tap into what that is and how that relates to what's happening now?
Yeah, I could tell you what go a little more important part of the story.
Let's get it.
When the guy woke up, what was the first thing he need for his power to activate? Do you remember?
It was a transference of consciousness, wasn't it?
He needed a woman. Remember? Go back to the movie. Remember the lady?
Since I've seen it, so I got to watch it again. But I just remember when I watched it, I'm like, yo, they showing some real deal stuff in this movie, like for real.
No male god can have power on Earth until a woman give it to him.
That's sure.
We ruler gods, we're not creator gods.
Yes, sir. And that goes back to even like the royal bloodline or the royalty on the throne. You can't, as a male, we can't sit on the throne without coming through the matriarchal bloodline. Is that correct?
Yeah. The king, the queens make the king.
Sure.
You need a kingmaker.
Yes, sir.
If you don't find the kingmaker, you won't never get to be the king. Right? Isis got to go find the parts of Osiris and put his ass back together in order for Heru to know what his daddy was like to replace the throne. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. But the only secret about it is that they got us believing that the men make queens. The men posted, that's patriarchy.
I just finna say it. That goes back to the Vatican and the Papal. That whole.
But under patriarchy, all of their queens been drag queens. Go back and look at their pictures. I ain't making this up. For all the way up to the office of the president. I think only a couple of the presidents actually had a woman for a wife.
Oh, yes, sir. So listen, we're going all the way in. I didn't want to go just to the Barack thing yet. And before we even go into what
Okay, let's go to George H.W. Bush and Big Buddy. They called him Barbara, but his name was Big Buddy when he played football. It ain't no the Statue of Liberty is a drag queen. Gave to us by friends to tell us that we being ran by drag queens that hate women.
Man, listen.
And I don't got no look. I don't care about nobody's personal life. I don't care if you choose to sleep with a hairy ass man in your bed. That ain't got nothing to do with me because I'm not gonna be there. And you can't get me to come because that ain't my lane. Right? But for the people that it is, I don't care. I'm just telling you what they was using to oppress us. They was using cross-dressers to masquerade as matriarchs to trick us into believing that the matriarchs was under some kind of demented rage of power. No, it was all drag queens. It wasn't no women. Look, the flip side of patriarchy is feminism. That's the other side of the coin. Most of your feminine Barbara singing all them, they cross dressers.
Hillary Clinton. What was his name or whatever that thing's name?
Hillary was an actual female, but she was being controlled by the old man Bush.
Okay.
Her CIA code name is Evergreen because her job was transporting minors and cargo containers from all around the world to the Americas. Bill Clinton's CIA code name is the Snowman because he was bringing all that cocaine into Arkansas. Barack Obama, his CIA code name is the Jackal. The Jackal is the patron saint of Kenya. He said he was born in Kenya.
Yeah, boy, we definitely got a hot one on our hands tonight, buddy. Yeah, you talking about a block party, boy. We burning it down, man. This is the third one, the 3-peat. So now, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna go there. So Barack, because I know about cloning. I know you know about cloning, and I also know that a lot of us, I think, don't take it serious as to how real cloning is. So being a student of Dr. York, me personally, I know that's a real thing. I know how deep it goes. But can you kind of tap into how cloning plays an effect with what we're seeing in this circus that we call the U.S. government and some of their past presidents?
You ever heard of Operation Paperclip?
Yes, sir.
Well, the Third Reich had acquired the scrolls for genetic manipulation that we call cloning. And in this process, after World War II, they went to Brazil and they went to Argentina to set up a breeding program. They call it the Boys from Brazil. The false narrative is that they were cloning little Adolf Hitlers. That's not who they was cloning. They were cloning Akhenaten, who we get Barack Obama from. The Boys from Brazil, they went and made 50 clones of Akhenaten, and most of them they killed doing experiments on them. So it's only a handful of them left, but it's more than one or two. It's like 5 or 6, and they use them as each other's doubles when they